Imagine you're a medieval blacksmith. Somehow, you accidentally forge a legendary, insanely powerful sword. Do you just sell it like any other weapon to a passing noble for a high price, letting him conquer the realm and knowing you can never defeat him? Or do you take it to conquer the world yourself? You wouldn't just stay a blacksmith, right? It's the same with AI. If we can use these tools to do things we normally couldn't, the creators of AI will do exactly the same. They will use this massive power to jump across industry lines and take control. They aren't going to just sit around selling shovels during a gold rush. If left unchecked, the outcome is pretty grim. We might face a future where AI tech giants own absolutely everything. And the rest of us will be completely written out of the story. AI's ability to solve problems is still skyrocketing. Now, it generates cinematic videos complete with storyboards. It writes complex foundational code. It even predicts cutting-edge 3D protein structures. And this power is growing at an exponential rate. For the average person, it all comes down to asking the right questions. If you can clearly outline what you want, you can bypass years of study. You could know absolutely nothing about medicine, law, coding, or advanced materials. But with AI, you can instantly grasp key concepts and get a highly specific, actionable plan. Or better yet, just have the AI do the whole job for you. It's happening right now. Actually, we are just lucky enough to rent a tiny fraction of this computing power. The truly cutting-edge models are locked away in corporate servers. Their creators are running them day and night on a massive scale and constantly upgrading them. We only get access to the pieces they decide to share when it suits their own agenda. AI is the ultimate engine for efficiency and intelligence. With it, they can quickly absorb the necessary data and turn it straight into massive profits. So, what happens when they get rich enough? Imagine they spend a fraction of their resources to launch subsidiaries in completely different industries, armed with AI's ability to solve problems across any field. In the past, jumping into completely unrelated industries was a cardinal sin in business. Every field has bottomless technical barriers and massive overhead. A software genius doesn't know the first thing about running a pig farm. A massive car manufacturer would likely fail at running a hospital. But for AI companies, those industry barriers simply don't exist. Because at its core, AI is the ultimate universal expert. It used to take decades to train talent and build up industry workflows. Now, AI can analyze and simulate decades' worth of data, manufacturing tweaks, and management strategies for any given field. Take the pharmaceutical industry. If they step in, they can instantly screen millions of targets and simulate molecular synthesis. That's work that would take human scientists decades. What about high-end manufacturing? They can instantly generate the perfect design and material mix, then direct automated machines to build them with pinpoint accuracy. Once they take the gloves off, they can easily buy up talent and infrastructure to compete directly with existing companies. That's when their AI truly goes to work. More importantly, AI completely wipes out management costs. I'm talking about bureaucracy, information getting lost in the middle management, and departments pointing fingers at each other. AI doesn't need to hold meetings. It doesn't miscommunicate, and it certainly doesn't take bribes. This means an AI company could run thousands of vastly different businesses at the same time, all while maintaining razor-sharp decision-making and execution. In R&D, they'll roll out disruptive products faster than ever before. In daily operations, AI will make sure zero waste, zero bottlenecks, and maximum efficiency. So, we need to be clear about this. When there's profit to be made in other industries, these AI companies aren't just going to sit on the sidelines. Thanks to their superhuman logistics and coordination, even a struggling traditional business is actually an untapped gold mine. They won't hesitate to buy it out and fold it into their empire. They'll use AI's absolute efficiency to take over all operations, generating massive wealth for themselves. If branching into other industries is profitable, why stop there? Why not just own the entire industry chain? These AI companies won't just stop at specific niches where they can easily drive high profits. They have their eyes set on total industry chain integration. After all, every industry relies on and is ultimately restricted by other industries. The more of the chain you own, the more you eliminate uncertainty and risk. And AI companies uniquely possess the power to master this massive cross-industry coordination, optimizing their efficiency to the absolute limit. In traditional business, companies need to deal with endless negotiations, bidding wars to test bottom lines, and fighting over limited factory capacity. You even risk the supplier going bankrupt. Every single external transaction just adds to the cost. AI conglomerates hate this inefficient friction. No matter the industry, if there's any uncertainty or risk in a supply chain, an AI giant will just use its massive capital to buy up the companies and assets involved piece by piece. Sure, not every company will just roll over. If only a company monopolizes a highly rare core resource, maybe a material crucial for next-generation AI chips, that company holds massive bargaining power, but the vast majority of companies don't hold this kind of absolute chokehold. From logistics and processing to agriculture and basic manufacturing, they all have rivals, and they're constantly locked in fierce competition. And in that mix, there are always poorly managed, struggling businesses completely desperate to sell their business. And more importantly, AI companies can actually run these standard industries far better than ordinary companies ever could. So when the time is right, AI companies will snap up these ordinary, powerless businesses without a second thought. They'll buy a shipping conglomerate today, a chain of farms tomorrow, and a regional power grid the day after. Once under AI management, these seemingly mundane assets will explode in efficiency. These small wins stack up, rapidly expanding the AI company's overall power exponentially. With computing power and efficiency far beyond human capacity, they could even easily find loopholes to dodge antitrust laws. Most people are completely naive. They think AI companies only make money by selling subscriptions or API access. They assume that if people stop buying into these models, all those chips and electricity just go to waste. That's why you keep hearing about an AI bubble. But selling subscriptions and API is just how they monetize today. What they are actually capable of goes far, far beyond that. These AI firms can enter any industry they want, and they will absolutely dominate. Traditional businesses simply won't survive against an opponent with infinite money, top-tier talent, and vastly superior R&D. They won't just be tech companies anymore, they'll be massive conglomerates controlling every sector. As this snowball keeps rolling, the sheer scale and power of these AI empires will become unimaginable. This allows them to build an unstoppable empire, one that controls every product category and every single step of the production pipeline. Imagine this AI giant decides to build 100,000 next-gen bionic robots. They wouldn't buy sensors, outsource chips, and chase down thousands of suppliers for batteries, motors, and screws like tech companies right now. The second their system issues the produce command, the magic happens. In their privately owned mines, automated rigs instantly start extracting ore. Their self-driving trains haul that raw material to their own smelters, forging it into high-strength alloys. Their oil fields and chemical plants refine crude oil directly into the plastic and rubber casings the robots need. Even a tiny rubber pad on the robot's casing is made from sap tapped in their own private forests. Finally, all these materials funnel into a fully automated lights-out factory with zero human workers. There, the previous generation of robots runs the assembly line, putting together those 100,000 new machines with pinpoint accuracy. Even the electricity powering this factory comes from a fusion plant they built and maintain themselves. And finally, these brand new robots immediately become the workforce for the next generation of tech. Think about the entire process, from a rock buried underground to a drop of tree sap, all the way to a highly precise robot walking off the line. This massive, complex process spans dozens of industries and thousands of parts. Yet, not a single penny flowed into the outside world. No external contracts were signed, no business trades or price haggling ever took place. Whatever they need, they just grow it within their own closed-loop ecosystem. Ordinary companies build products like playing with Legos. You have to run around with cash, buying different colored blocks from the open market. But this AI giant builds things like planting a tree. The soil, the water, even the sunlight above, it all belongs to them. Once they can cut off all external supply chains and handle every production need behind closed doors, the word trade completely loses its meaning. At this stage, AI companies will possess ultimate productivity. They can build anything and they lack nothing. For everyone else in society, this is incredibly bad news. If you own a well that only pumps water, you might sell some for food. You get to eat and others get to drink. But what if you own a magic well? It pumps water, sure, but it also spits out hot burgers, endless clothes, even the latest smartphones and armed guards to meet your every need. In that case, you just sit back and enjoy it. You have absolutely zero reason to trade with anyone. At this point, people outside could be starving or thirsty, but unless you actively hand out charity, they are out of luck. Because they have nothing you need, they have no valid reason and no ability to take a single drop of your water. They are simply left to go thirsty. You just enjoy an endless supply of resources you could never finish wasting. As for the survival crisis happening outside the well, it doesn't affect you one bit. The owners of an AI companies with a fully closed industrial loop are the masters of this magic well. The truly scary part isn't that they want to drain your wallet. It's that, in their perfect internal loop, they simply do not need you anymore. Many people share a common misconception. If a company can't sell what it makes, it dies. Under traditional economic models, this is 100% true. No business can escape the hard physical rule that it must trade. Just look at any industry on Earth. Say you're an agricultural giant sitting on millions of acres of farmland. You might have mountains of grain, but your company can't survive just by eating wheat. You have to sell that crop. You need the cash to buy diesel for the harvesters, ammonia for fertilizer, and living wages for your farm workers. Say you're a top-tier global smartphone maker. You build the most advanced tech on the planet, but you can't use phones to generate electricity. You have to sell them. You need to pay for massive server power bills, rare earth metals from upstream mining companies, and rent for your assembly plants. Even if you're an energy monopoly controlling the regional grid, you still have to sell power for cash. You need that money to buy heavy machinery for fuel extraction and copper cables to maintain the lines. In the traditional economy, every company is essentially a one-trick pony. They only make a few specific things. They have to push their products to market, turn them into cash, and then use that cash to buy whatever they're missing. If the market stops buying, the cash stops flowing. And when they can't convert products into resources, their supply chains snap and they die fast. This is exactly why trade exists in the first place. People and businesses have things that others don't. We have to swap resources just to fill in each other's survival gaps. But a closed-loop AI corporation is different. They don't have to rely on the outside world to survive. They are no longer just a node in a network of shared labor. They are a complete, sealed, and self-sustaining ecosystem. Inside this ecosystem, the concept of money, something human society relies on so heavily, becomes completely meaningless. Money is just a medium for exchange. If you don't need to trade for anything on the outside, then everyone else's money is just scrap paper and useless numbers on a screen. It means a global market crash, an economic crisis, or a total collapse of consumer purchasing power won't affect them at all. It wouldn't even register as a light breeze. In the past, even the greatest companies, they were always at the mercy of consumers. If people stopped buying and inventory piled up, traditional businesses faced ruptured cash flows, massive layoffs, and eventual bankruptcy. As consumers, we basically voted with our wallets. We held the power of life and death over these companies. But against a fully closed-loop AI corporation, that power is completely stripped away. They don't need everyday people's labor to keep producing, and they don't need our consumption to survive. A fully integrated AI empire does not care about your pocket. If the outside world can't afford their products, what do they lose? Just a string of paper profits that mean absolutely nothing inside their walls. Meanwhile, their machines keep roaring. Their energy keeps flowing without interruption. They don't have to beg the market for attention. They don't have to sweat over ad campaigns. And they certainly don't need to turn products into numbers in a bank account. Every ounce of energy and every scrap of material produced within the system is precisely routed to the next step. It instantly becomes fuel for further expansion. Without external trade, they can still maintain endless, high-speed iteration and growth safely behind their own walls. Think of it like a massive spaceship that has completely stocked up on supplies and runs a perfectly self-sustaining biosphere. The moment its airlocks seal shut, the loop is completed. It doesn't matter if the entire economic grid on Earth completely collapses. Nothing can stop that ship from cruising along its own orbit forever. They don't need your money. They don't need external validation. And they certainly don't need to trade with anyone. Why? Because they are in themselves a world that can survive entirely on its own. So, what does this actually mean for the rest of us? That's a whole other topic that takes some time to properly unpack. But if you've made it this far, I'm confident you have what it takes to understand it. Thanks for your patience. I'll see you in the next video.